again to Siobhan. What a catch! Diving away to her left. That is a cracking catch.
Welcome to the 2021 WBBL season opener between the Melbourne Stars and the Sydney Sixers. Unfortunately, we've seen quite a lot of rain fall and we're now reduced to 11 overs a side. But in saying that, women's cricket is back and we have a star-studded lineup for both sides. I'm joined by Nscialpi and Haug in the studio. Boys, who do you think that this 11 overs a side benefits the most?
Good evening, Siobhan. I think this definitely favours the Sydney Sixers. I think Alyssa Healy, obviously one of the best batswomen in the comp, she'll come out firing in the 11 over format and she'll really put her side on the front foot tonight. That's
a great point. There are a lot of stars that are returning from the Indian series that we've just seen. Matt, we saw Alyssa Healy a little bit out of form with the bat. Nick's predicting her to bounce back. What's she got to do to come back and perform in this WBBL tonight and for the rest of the season?
I think Healy's going to really perform, set the tone for the Sixers. I think being the, opening batsman, she's really going to perform and set the tone for the Sixers for the great tournament.
Nick, also Elise Perry, she also is featured in the Indian series. Again, she was off a little bit. She was good with the bat, but not so much with the ball. Do you see her bowling tonight?
Yes, I do, Siobhan. It's the start of a season. Everyone deserves a chance at anything that comes on at the start of the season. And she's one of the greatest female cricketers in the world right now. So I think she'll get her opportunity. And I think she'll take it with both hands. And I think she's going to have a really good start.
There's plenty of stars to talk about. Also, Annabelle Sutherland, who we saw really emerge in that Indian series. Moving on to some of the international recruits that we've seen for both sides. Nick, Shivali Verma, who is an Indian international star that's playing for the Sydney Sixers tonight. What type of impact do you see her having on tonight and the rest of the season?
Yeah, she's great with the bat. That's one thing that everyone needs to know that doesn't know anything about Shivali Verma. But she's also incredible in the field. She'll be able to stop runs like no tomorrow. She's like a panther in there. And she'll be able to get some runs for the Sixers and she'll also be able to save them.
She's a star, and I'm sure we'll see some of that tonight. Matt, Nat Siva, unfortunately, won't be there for the Melbourne Stars this year as their international recruit, one of the best female all-rounders in the world. Who covers her role? I know she'll leave a big gap, but the Stars still have plenty of talent.
Yeah, obviously, as you said, Nscialpi is a big loss. I think that Maya Bushia is going to be a great impact for the Stars. She can bowl, she can bat. But it is a big loss for the Stars considering that Nscialpi was their best and fairest and actually averaged 36 runs to the Stars this season. The Stars have been close in previous years, but if Bushia can perform, I think the Stars can really make a big impact this season.
Join us after the break for the Stars and the Sixers.
I reckon one of the real tests of a great barbecue is can it cook the perfect steak? And I can tell you this, the entire range of WBBL barbecues are designed to do just that. In fact, people all over Australia are raving about WBBL steaks.
She goes straight with such speed. Oh, gone!
Welcome back. Out in the middle, Annabelle Sutherland and and Elise Volani, and we throw over to Liam Vertigan in the commentary box to deliver the first ball of the season for 2021.
Thank you very much, Siobhan Rowe. Very easily to get mixed up there with the usual opening batters of the Melbourne Stars. In years gone by, it is usually Meg Lanning and Elise Volani, but nevertheless, Annabelle Sutherland, the youngster, has been promoted up the order. Usually bats around the 3, 4, 5 mark, that is batting with the vice captain. So revised playing conditions are only bowling 11 overs. 4 over power play. 3 bowlers can bowl 3 overs, I believe it was. A little bit of a curveball thrown straight away. Nicole Bolton is going to open the bowling for the Sydney Sixers with her little tweakers. She's joined the Sydney Sixers coming across from the Perth Scorchers in the off-season. Anyway, we're about to get underway. Volani will have the strike. And she'll be facing Nicole Bolton, who'll be bowling from the city end here at Blunston Arena on what is a very cool nice down in Hobart. So we're ready to go. Villani takes guard now. Bolton is in to Villani. Ball pitches on middle and leg, and Villani just tucks that around the corner between backward square and a short 45. Maitland Brown does the fielding there, palms it up to Campbell. Emerald Way, Villani 1-off-1. I'm also joined by Nick Scialpi in the commentary box. Good evening, Nick.
Good evening, Liam. How are we going tonight?
Very well, thanks, Nick. What are you expecting to see out of these two sides tonight?
For the Stars, I'm expecting a very strong start. Sutherland on strike now. Nice little block shot down leg side. Dot ball there. But no, I'm expecting Villani to go strongly.
Sutherland, obviously, straight into the WBBL after making her test debut earlier on in the month against India as Bolton's in again. That's a rank half tracker down leg side. And she pulls it straight to Campbell there at short 45. Another dot ball. That's probably a few runs there gone begging for the Stars. So none for one off 3 balls so far, the Stars. Bolton working the ball feverishly. Very, very wet night, wet ground, obviously, after a heavy downpour. As Bolton's in, that ball's nicely flighted outside the off stump, and Sutherland finds the gap there that time. Should come back for 2. And they do. Although Villani had to stretch a little bit. A direct hit, if you don't mind. There could be overthrows here, and they're going for it. So what should have been 2 has turned into 3. Stars are now none for 4. And a little bit fortuitous there to pick up the extra one. Sometimes you see the batsman of the batting team not take the overthrow when the ball hits the stumps. There's no case for the third umpire to answer for there. Villani back on strike. We'll cross down to our boundary reporter, Siobhan Rowe, who's managed to get down to Hobart tonight. We'll cross down to her after Bolton bowls this ball to Villani. She's in now bowling around the wicket to the right-hander. She goes for the reverse slap sweep, does nicely, and that'll race away for 4. Top quality shot there from Villani. She moves to 5. It's a good start for the Stars. They're now none for 8 with 1 ball to come in the over. Siobhan, what are conditions like down at Hobart tonight?
Yeah, as we know, the rain was coming down before, and we have a revised 11 overs aside. Interesting conditions out here as the field is very, very damp underfoot. But we just saw Villani, true Villani style there, score 4 runs. Hopefully the Stars can make the most of the power play. The outfield looks a little slower tonight, Liam.
Yeah, thank you very much there, Siobhan Rowe. Magnificent analysis there as well. Villani plays that down to Jade Allen there, who's on her debut tonight. Youngster after the first over, the Melbourne Stars at 10 without loss. Nick, what do you make of that first over?
Yeah, it's a strong first over for the Stars. And with the revised 11 overs, if you're averaging 10 runs and over, then you're in the box seat to win this match.
Yeah, exactly right. Runs on the board in a reduced overs match. Vitally, vitally important, as Sutherland will have the strike going into the next over. And it's going to be Stella Campbell, who also opened the bowling this time from the River Derwent end. Stella Campbell, a very, very tall player for only 17 years of age. She's well over 6 foot. She releases the ball from such a great height. It's pretty hard for the batsman to try and face up to her because she gets such steep bounce. So it'll be interesting to see how Sutherland handles it here. As we see, Stella Campbell's average across WBBL is 25.5, but that could be very, very much cut down. She's on her approach now to Sutherland. No slips in place. First ball is a short one down leg side. That'll be a wide. Will they take on the arm of Healy? No, they won't, but that's an ill-directed start for Campbell, and that's not what you want, Nick, in a reduced overs match and limited overs to bowl from your personal standpoint.
Not at all. Maybe she's trying to scare Sutherland there. She knows she's a little bit worried, a little bit low on confidence, Sutherland at the wicket. So maybe she's trying to give a little bit of a scare, but that's not the way to do it, unfortunately, from Campbell.
Nick Scialpi joining us also tonight on special comments. He's played a little bit of cricket before in his life, Nick. As Campbell's back in this time, it's a much fuller ball on about middle and leg, and Sutherland just blocks that away to mid-off, and Shivali Verma does the fielding there. So a couple of... this is where they should try and tighten it up a little bit here, the Sydney Sixers. Try and, well, I don't know, limit the Stars to maybe 5 or 6, 7 runs and over. You don't want to get them off to a 9-10 run and over start here, as Campbell's moving in quite strongly once again. Good ball pitched on off stump, pitched up quite a little bit. got up to Sutherland, who's also quite tall at about that waist height. Another dot ball. So after that wide ball start, a couple of dot balls here for the Sixers just to wrangle back a little bit of momentum potentially. So what can Campbell do here now? Stars will probably need some runs here. Campbell's on her approach now. Ball's in, good Yorker length, whipped away nicely on the leg side by Sutherland, and that'll go to the boundary. Magnificent shot, clipped off the legs, 4 runs. Stars move on to none for 15. 3 to come in the second over. Nice little shot off the legs there, Nick.
Yeah, nice shot to settle the nerves there from Sutherland. And once again, it's her third ball this over that Campbell's hit down the leg hand side. Just needs to get her bowling a little bit more on the offside and a little bit fuller, and she'd be all right.
Just trying to shape the ball away too much here, I feel, Campbell. While that ball is pretty new, you want to bowl it outside off stump and let it do the rest. As she bowls that leg side line again, this time it's hit straight to Andreeks down there at deep backward square for 1. That'll rotate the strike, bring Villani back onto strike. None for 16 with 2 to come in the second here for the Melbourne Stars. Decent over so far from Campbell. Nick, would you persist with Bolton bowling the third over, or would you try and get more pace on the ball?
Look, I'd persist one more over. I mean, as you said, it's wet conditions. It's the first over of the WBBL season. We'll see what happens. It's only one over.
Exactly right. Fair analysis there, but interesting to see. Just looking at the pitch, it's quite green as well, so might be a little bit of life in it, regardless of who's bowling, as Campbell's on her approach once again to Villani. It's well pitched, on a good length, and Villani just plonks it back down the wicket for a dot. 1 to come in the second over, none for 16. So they're going at a little bit over. 8 runs and over here, the Stars. And if they would keep that up throughout the whole innings, they would finish on 88. As Villani pulls and pulls hard, will bounce just short of Reeks down there. Deep backward square, more of 45 area for 1. That's 2 overs bowled, none for 17 now, the Stars. As Villani did a nice little lap sweep there to start Rada Yadav's spell in the WBBL for 2. They're none for 19. And there's a rank full toss, and that has been absolutely smashed between the covers, but some magnificent fielding down there once again by Reeks. Has probably saved a couple of runs, although the throw just went over Ash Gardner's head just a little bit, so they should come back for 2. Although I'm mistaken, they've come back for 3 there. So number 22 in the third over now. Villani is on 13. Sutherland 8th with 1 extra in there as well. Interesting start from the Indian international. Didn't play any of the lead-up matches, not even against Australia in that recent tri-series that they played, T20s, tests and one days. It'll be very, very interesting to see how Rada Yadav goes in this WBBL, as they're just having a look at the boundary check just to see if Reeks didn't infiltrate the boundary rope there. I think she looks all right. This will be the angle that'll decide it. She's well inside there. It's like VAR if you're a soccer fan, but not exactly. And I think she's all right there. She's got the ball off, I think, just in time before that left leg touches the rope. Nick, are you impressed with the start from Villani here? She's striking at nearly 200.
Oh, absolutely. She's been flying so far tonight, and she looks confident every time she hits the ball, where it's a reverse sweep hook shot, and she's hitting them pure. It's a really, really good stuff from Villani. Also called a wide there by the umpire.
Cheeky little extra run taken there, the wide down the leg side, and the single taken by the batsman. That'll bring Villani back on strike. Done for 25. Only bowled the 2 balls in the third over here. So the Stars are really off to the great start. There's a rank full toss there from Yadav. Villani can't get the full purchase on it, and it was hit straight to one of the newcomers there into the Sydney Sixers side there, and well cut off there. Saved a few runs there for sure, but probably a little bit disappointed that Villani didn't get the 6 runs there. Sutherland's back on strike. Rada Yadav's under the pump here. She's none for 8. She's bowled 3 balls. Would need a dot or 2 to finish this over. She's into Sutherland this time. And it's a dead ball. Must have just got the little bit of the jitters there. We'll try again. Sutherland on strike. She's 8 off 7, striking above 100. That's all you need to be doing in cricket. As Yadav's in, pitched right up. And there we go. There's one of the dot balls I was talking about. Straight back to Yadav. 2 to come. None for 25 in the third over. Stars I'd say, have the supremacy. The Sixers need a quick wicket as Yadav's in again to Sutherland. She dances down the wicket nicely. That's a nice shot. Chips it just between mid-on and mid-off, although Elise Perry, Ash Gardner, I think it was patrolling the deep mid-on boundary and has done quite nicely there to save a couple of runs and only picks up the single. Bit unfortunate that if you're a fan of the Stars. And it'll bring Villani back on strike, who's striking at about 175 at the moment with one ball to come in the over. Yadav's come in. Villani's gone for the lap sweep again. She's got a pretty good amount of purchase on it, but with this wet outfield, it'll slow up. And usually when you get two for that, they do get two for that. Well done. Good running. 3 bowled, none for 28. Nick, would you persist with spinners or would you get pace on the ball? Considering the ball slips out, it's like a sticky bar of soap when it's just rolling along the water. Would you want more pace on the ball, or do you think they'll stick with the spin for a little while?
Look, it's time for a bit of pace, in my opinion. It's quite clear that the spin's not working. They've been hit for double figures every time spin's been bowling so far tonight, and it's time for a little bit of pace with the wet ball.
As Siobhan's looking like he's trying to keep warm down there. We've got the monitor on her the whole time. Stella Campbell's going to continue. None for 9 off her first over. Sutherland will have the strike starting the 4th. She's 9 off 9, runner ball at the moment. Villani 16. Campbell's on her run in now. Strides in nicely. Short ball. Got the edge. No slip there though, but just down to third man for a single. None for 29. Villani looking dangerous. She's in now. She's got the runs on the board. She should still be in the Australian side personally, but just can't find any room in the outstanding Australian squad. Siobhan, I'll ask you, do you think Elise Villani's still good enough to be within the Australian side?
Absolutely. I think she is, just as she produces that ripper shot there. I do think that she is good enough, but I think the Australian side are heading more towards youth. I don't see a spot for her in that batting lineup at the moment. And we even saw Talia McGrath certainly become handy with the bat as well, even though she's predominantly a bowler. The Australian selectors would be pretty happy with the side that they saw take on India in those 3 formats.
Yeah, very well said there, Siobhan. You touched on Talia McGrath, who's also in the leadership group of the Adelaide Strikers. They play on Saturday afternoon against the Sydney Thunder. So Villani back on strike after a couple of back and forward singles for the Melbourne Stars so far. And it'll be time for a change in the commentary box. Joining us now, it'll be Matthew Hill. Will Sutherland is joining to listen in to his sister. And alongside them, it's going to be Sam Duncan.
What a great opening match that was to the WBBL season, with the Sixers chasing down 100 with a 6-wicket win with 4 balls to spare. Not the best start for last year's runner-up in the Stars in what was a rain-interrupted match, with the class of the Sydney Sixers prevailing. The Meg Lanning 23 not out and Elise Villani's quickfire 54 of 31 not enough, with Alyssa Healy's 57 of 27 enough to see her side home in an 11-over shootout. I'm joined again by Nscialpi and Matt Haug. What a performance from Alyssa Healy, rebounding after that disappointing Indian series. She spoke to Channel 7 after her match-winning performance.
4 weeks too late, some would say, but yeah, look, it was nice to get back out here. I love playing in the WBBL, especially for the Sixers, so it was nice to get out, get a relatively clean game in, and strike them all right. I'll take that.
She's very, very hard to stop once she's up and going. Matt, we have to talk about that incredible run out by 17-year-old Shafali Verma.
Yeah, Shafali Verma's direct hit on stump to end Annabelle Sutherland's and Elise Villani's partnership was amazing. You know, a direct hit on stump from about 15 to 20 metres out. We said this in the introduction. We knew she could hit, we knew she could bowl, but she was amazing and actually gave the Sixers momentum.
It's incredible to think she's only 17 years old. Nick, another great debut tonight was from Reese McKenna, who took her debut wicket, and that was the wicket of the one and only Elise Perry.
Yeah, Reese McKenna, the 17-year-old from the Mornington Peninsula. What a story. taking out Elise Perry on your first night of Women's Big Bash. It doesn't get much better than that. She's multi-talented as well. She had a great junior career with soccer as well. She played both soccer and cricket at a very high level, and now she's got her opportunity with the Melbourne Stars and the Women's Big Bash. And who knows? She's only a young age, but she could be a really important part of the Stars season going forward.
Absolutely. It looked like it was going to go down to the wire, but the class of the Sixers once again prevailed. Thanks to Liam Vertigan, Nscialpi, and Matt Haug, as we watched Alyssa Healy dominate and the Sydney Sixers take a 6-wicket win over the Melbourne Stars.
Oh, yes! Oh, my word. There's a half century to remember. Alyssa Healy